Welcome back to Clubhouse Sports.
What's up?
This week's
Thanks
pick
for having
segment. No AJ, no KP, just Tom, Yug, and me. How we doing?
I'm doing
Ready
pretty
to
good. How
ready to
about
turn
you?
this train around.
Yeah, it's been a rough 2 weeks for Thomas and Kyle. I got to give a little respect to Tom. He's been 1-13 the last 2 weeks, and he showed up. Kyle couldn't handle it. So
They
we'll
won
get
in
into the
13?
leaderboard first. Yeah, they were both 1-13 the last 2 weeks, but we'll get into the leaderboard, Yug, because I don't know if
Yug's
you've
made a
taken a look,
comeback.
but Yug's making a hell of a comeback. So I've still got Yug by 0.5% at coming in at 53.64%, 29-25-1, 4-3 last week. Chuck's 25-22-1, 53.13%, 6-1 last week. We got TX 1-6 last week, total of 20-34-1. It's hard to do, folks, at 37%, but not any easier to do than going 11-26-1 on the year. Didn't feel necessary to show up. KP at 30.26%.
That is tough. Also tough is 1-13, but got a few weeks to turn things around. So see what we can do.
It's not over, but this week we are going to make the pick segment a little different. Drop in lock of the week, and we're going to pick some college football championships. Chuck, you seem upset with that.
Yeah, Lock of the Week was always one of my favorite segments. Hopefully we can bring it back one day.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we could bring it back one day. But let's get into the college football slate. Big 12 championship, a possible playoff berth on the line. Baylor, Oklahoma State -4.5. What we got?
Yo, take it away, Oklahoma boy.
I'm going to take Oklahoma State, and I think they'll be able to cover. I think there's a lot of shit going on with Oklahoma. I think they're going to be on the national stage. This is the highest they've been ranked in a while. It's their chance to show people and prove to the world that they can maybe they can win back the state and be the state team again. I think.
When were they ever the state team?
Well, I mean, usually Oklahoma's better and, always in the playoff picture, and Oklahoma State's usually got 2 or 3 losses. But now they're rolling. Their quarterback's a veteran, so he should know what's going on.
They probably got the second best defense in the country, too.
So I'm going to go with them. I'm going with them.
I am going to go the other way. I'm going to take Baylor in the points here. Baylor's kind of stuck around with pretty much everybody they've played. A couple bad losses, but this Baylor team beat Oklahoma State earlier in the year. And I'm going to roll with the Bears to cover that spread, and I think it'll come down to the last possession.
Okay, chalk that as one of the biggest bonehead things that you've said, because I'm checking the scores right now, and I see Oklahoma State beating Baylor by 10 on October the 2nd.
Oh, shit.
So for that reason, I'm taking the Baylor Bears to cover the spread. But I think Oklahoma State will win by a field goal just because why not? But, yeah, Oklahoma State did beat Baylor earlier this year at home.
All right, so hold up. I pretty much didn't watch any Big 12 until the last month because I figured they wouldn't be getting a playoff team in. But after last week, it's just kind of hit the fan. Who has Oklahoma State lost to, Tom? Do you have that in front of you?
Let's have a look. Oh, Iowa State on the road.
That's a tough loss. I do kind of remember that now that I hear that. But, yeah, I guess Iowa State had a pretty good ranking coming into the year, so not something to be too sorry about. But I don't know. I think this Cowboys team has played a pretty weak schedule and been able to stay in games because of their defense. I'm sticking with the Bears. Me and Tom are going with the Bears. And honestly, I have no fucking idea how that game's going to go, though.
Me either.
But, all right, now we'll get into what's usually the main event of the day. And I would say this is definitely going to be the game that's watched by the most fans, but I'm not really sure it's going to be a great game. Alabama, Georgia. Georgia's 6.5-point favorites. What do we think?
I like Bama. I do think Georgia will win outright, but I don't see Alabama losing by a touchdown. just because it is Alabama. It's just the logo at the end of the day for me. So I'll stick with Bama in the points, but do expect Georgia to win that one.
I'm taking Alabama too, but I think they're going to win. They're going to win the game. Kind of what Tom said, just the logo. They're always in these games. Nick Saban knows how to coach. They got one of the better quarterbacks they've ever had, I think. Yes, Georgia's good. I'm not taking anything away from Georgia. I know they got their defense, but this will be the best offense they'll have to play. So I think Kyle said it last week. This feels like a playoff game before the playoffs. So I think they might end up playing again too, but I'm taking Alabama to win the game.
I'm going to roll with the dogs. I think that the Georgia Bulldogs are head and shoulders above Alabama this year. Alabama's barely sneaked by some teams this year, and seen a side of Nick Saban where he's getting pretty excited after beating a 6-6 Auburn team with a backup quarterback. Makes me think he kind of knows that this team doesn't really have it in him to pull it out to win the championship. So I want to take Georgia by 10. And going on to the Big Ten championship, Iowa, who for 3 weeks couldn't score the football, has found their way back.
Found their way in.
I gave Tom enough shit. I didn't think that they'd be playing any sort of postseason ball at this point. But
Too bad it's not the Buckeyes there.
We got the Iowa Hawkeyes 11-point dogs against Michigan in Indianapolis. Who wants to take this one?
I'll kick it off. Just because I have been – well, I was kind of high on Iowa at the beginning of the year. I guess they figured it out and muscled their way in. I'll say 11 points is just too many points in a Big Ten championship with I think it's going to be a defensive matchup and close game. So I'll roll with Iowa in the points.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with you. I'm taking Iowa in the points as well. Now, I do think Michigan's going to win this game, and I do think they're definitely the better team, but a little bit of an emotional letdown. Iowa's shown the ability to turn the ball over against some pretty good offenses, so I could definitely see Michigan starting a little flat and then fighting their way back into the game. I think they'll probably end up winning by 6 or 7, but this Iowa team seems to be finding the groove again, and not enough to beat Michigan, but 11 is a lot.
I'm going to go with both of you guys, which I don't like to do because, well, 1-13 in the last 14 games, but
hey, I'm completely even the last 2 weeks.
Anyways, I think Michigan's probably due for some sort of a little bit of a letdown. I mean, they played their best game they've played in the last 10 years the other day. So Iowa's got the ability to slow the game down with running and short passes and good defense. So I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of points scored like there was in last week's game. So I'm going to go with Iowa and points too.
Yeah, and I guess we're remiss we didn't really project anything. So after this weekend, who do you have in the final 4 spots for the playoffs there, Tom?
Well, we're looking at Georgia's going to be in, win or lose. I think the Bearcats do win this weekend, so they're in. And then Alabama's going to be on the outside looking in, meaning Oklahoma State can jump in there. And then, I mean, who's in there right now still?
Michigan's the other team.
Oh, yeah, Michigan will win. So there's your 4.
I'm gonna take one team out of there that you have. I'm picking the Bears outright along with the points this weekend, and I'm gonna say the Brian Kelly-less Fighting Irish sneak in at the 4th seed.
I would love to see that.
To get the opportunity to get their ass kicked by Georgia.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be the only time that the general public's going to root for Notre Dame in the next century, so they might as well try to thrive in the spotlight and pull out as much of a Cinderella run as they can.
What do you want me to give you your top 4?
Yeah.
Alabama and Georgia, Michigan, and Cincinnati.
All right. There you go. Every one of us gave you probably the only 3 options. Still not holding out hope that all right, I'll work out how the Buckeyes get in. This is how it happens. Georgia fucks Alabama. Georgia fucks Alabama. Alabama's like, they lose by 24, and they're out.
Well, Alabama's not getting in, right? If they lose.
I mean, if this scenario happens.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
And then Cincinnati loses to Houston. They're done. Houston's a decent team. It's conceivable. We've seen Cincinnati struggle at times this year. And then we have Baylor inching out a game against Oklahoma State where neither team really looks very good. And we have a 2-loss team in the Big 12 that won their conference that no one respects. And you have a 2-loss Ohio State team that some people thought was the best chance to beat Georgia. Who do you put in? Baylor or Ohio State? Or 1-loss Cincinnati?
You really are holding out hope, aren't you?
It's just still a scenario that's possible, is my point.
It's admirable.
I mean, probably Baylor. I would think they would have the better resume.
Yeah, I mean, if as an Ohio State fan, I couldn't say that they deserve to get in over Baylor, but I definitely think it's a possibility that they don't respect the Big 12 very much.
Okay.
So that's what I'm rooting for this weekend. Don't think it'll happen. But we'll transition to NFL. It's a pretty rough slate this week. Part of the reason lock of the week in college football were swapped out. But we got a couple good matchups that'll matter for playoff seeding. At the 1 o'clock slate, Los Angeles Chargers travel across the coast to play to Cincinnati. That'll be a tough – teams always struggle from going to the west to the east, the 1 o'clock slate. Cincinnati's a 3-point favorite at home. Who you guys got?
That's a good question. Cincinnati's a favorite.
At 3 points at home.
Chargers. Still not a believer in the Bengals. Just one of those things where you look at the logo and you just assume they suck.
Sorry, you're big logo guy.
Sorry to all the Bengals fans out there. You guys can win a playoff game. Maybe you can change the narrative, but Herbert, Eckler, and Keenan Allen probably carve them up.
All right, so you're a big logo guy. Rate your top 5 logos since you've been picking off logos today. Who do you respect the most? What logos?
San Francisco 49ers. The throwback Patriots logo is a really good one. The Denver Bronco logo with the horse in it and the big D is a good one. I was a fan of the retro Falcons logo, that's just the black and white one, the old Brett Favre days.
Yeah.
And then
great logos. We should save this for an actual segment, maybe.
Chuck's been talking a lot of logos. I want to give him the floor to see if he had anything else to say.
Well, it's a good point. I think there's a lot of room for conversation there. I think it could be saved for a later pod.
Yeah, we'll have to flesh that out for post-football season. Tom, what do you got?
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess I'm going to roll with the Chargers too. I think it'll be close. So I do think the Bengals are just due for a little letdown game. So here it is.
Fuck. I was definitely picking the Chargers before you guys both take them.
Well, I'm 1-13 the last 2 weeks, so who are you going with?
6-1.
I'm rolling with you guys. I'm going to stick with you. I really think the Cincinnati team is a little too volatile. They've struggled to stop offenses when they've had shown the ability to be high-powered. This Chargers offense has a day after having a bad one last week. I generally just like to pick the team that played worse the week before if they're close, too. It just seems like that's the way it's been going. So I'm going with the Chargers.
I don't hate you for that.
Now we're going to go with an AFC North matchup. Baltimore squeaked by Cleveland this past week by 6. Is 4.5 points enough for you guys to roll with Baltimore at home? Or do you think the Steelers could cover that spread?
It's enough for me. Sure, I'll take Baltimore. They're pretty good. And the Steelers stink.
Baltimore and the points. Lamar's not going to play that shitty again. Steelers once was in on him, but with each week that passes and every time I have to see Ben Roethlisberger, I lose faith. And, I don't think so. I'm going with the Ravens.
And I can't join you guys on this one. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. I I really doubt after the week of coaching Mike Tomlin and some of the sound bites that have been coming out of Pittsburgh, I really think they're going to be motivated to come out and play well. I don't think they'll win, but I think it'll be a pretty similar game to Ravens-Browns from the other night. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh.
I want to hear some of them sound bites. Maybe we could get those sound bites on the pod.
I mean, did you hear what Mike Tomlin said about Claypool?
Well, I heard Claypool was bitching about music not being played at practice.
Yeah, Chuck, did you see this?
He's bitching about what?
Claypool, they're asking him after the game what they thought was wrong, and one of Claypool's thoughts was, well, we listen to music before the game to get pumped up, so like, why can't we just listen to music in practice?
That's why they're losing.
He's acting like he's been in the league for 15 years.
Well, yeah, and then Tomlin came out, and they asked him, what do you think about the comments that Chase Claypool made? And he said, well, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to let Chase Claypool play wide receiver, and I let myself be the head coach and run the practices. I'm good with that division of labor. And he had Ryan Clark on ESPN calling the Steelers cowards. This is put up or shut up time for Pittsburgh, and that's why I'm rolling with them.
That's not good.
Well, I think it's time to shut up, so that's why I'm taking the Ravens.
And now we'll go to the 49ers. I mocked their relevance a couple weeks ago, been in a shitty slate. Them being only a 3.5-point favorite against Seattle, the way they're playing, was noteworthy to me. Who do you got in that one?
Go ahead, Niner boy.
I'm going to take the Niners and the points. I think the reasons why it's so close. They always play Seattle tough, both times a year, every time. They historically don't play well in Seattle. They've won like 2 games there in the last 10 or 11 years. Russell Wilson always seems to torch us, and they're missing their best player on offense and their best player on defense, Fred Warner and Debo. So that's why it's as close as it is, but I think we'll make it work. I think the Seahawks are just atrocious, and I don't think it's going to be relatively close.
Wow, that's definitely bold. I mean, if it was in San Fran, I could see a potential for a blowout. But the fact of the matter is, the Seahawks don't get blown out at home. I'll go ahead and take the Seahawks, although I don't think they're good. I think they are a complete ass. I think it'll be a field goal game. And I think, honestly, since, I don't know, I think Russell Wilson got hurt last year. He started sucking ass last year. The wheels are kind of falling off. He's not the same Russ. It's been a good year now, but people still act like he's an all-pro or something. He's just not.
Wish he would have showed up on Tuesday. Wish he would have showed up because I tried to make this case and was.
No, he stinks. He kind of stinks.
Yeah. So would you trade first for him if you're the Browns right now? Would you trade multiple first for?
I don't want Russell Wilson.
Man,
he ain't that good. He's not as mobile as he used to be. You look at him, the sacks he used to be able to get out of, you couldn't get him. But now he stinks. I mean, I liked him. I like him still, but I don't think he's got it anymore.
And now, 11-year-old Thomas Campbell and Trent Thomas almost wrote Tom Heckert an email to draft Russell Wilson. And
I was drafted up.
Me and you are the ones telling people to get off the Russell Wilson train. It might be slowing down. What a world.
It's slowing down.
I'm going with San Francisco, and I'm going to fit the narrative that the Russell Wilson train is slowing down. Kyle Shanahan's found a bit of groove with the offense, and I think they're going to run it to death and not shut out Seattle, but really shut them down and pose a lot more questions for the Seahawks going forward. But now the best game of the week is on Monday night, which is never a great sign, but at least there'll be a relevant Monday night football game here late in the season.
Why is that not a good sign?
Because the Sunday slate is really bad. And the best games on Monday Night Football, that's usually not a good – we had freaking Washington football team Seattle this past Monday. They usually don't try to put the best game in on Mondays.
Well, we're lucky. I like it on Mondays.
Well, you're going to be enjoying yourself this coming Monday when New England goes to Buffalo.
Am I? Because if you haven't checked the past, month or two, the Patriots have been absolutely smoking everyone they've been playing. So I think it's kind of going to be the same thing. Nobody's stopping Bill Belichick and Mac Jones. And I think the Patriots win on the road and solidify themselves again atop that division.
Now, Chuck, I don't know if you remember this, Tom, picked the Patriots to be in his AFC Conference Championship.
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
Patriots all the way. I think they're the best team in the AFC. I don't even know what the spread is because I didn't look at the notes for this one.
They're 3-point dogs. 3-point dogs in Buffalo.
Who?
Buffalo on Monday night.
The Bills, the team that they've beaten probably 23 out of the last 26 times. Yeah, I'll go with Macaroni Jones and Bill and me Belichick.
And that's twice. All three of us are on the same squad. I think that the New England Patriots is 3-point dogs. Even going into Buffalo is disrespectful the way Buffalo has looked lately. And I think they're going to give a Josh Allen nightmares. Who knows? Maybe he'll be seeing ghosts.
I might become a Patriots fan here from here on out. I used to hate them, but how can you hate them? They're just freaking good every year.
It's not even like it gets to a certain point where you can't even hate, like you're wasting your time. Like why hate something that's like, why hate something that's inevitable, like the Warriors or the Crimson Tide of Alabama? Like don't spend your time hating something that's going to kick your ass every single time.
And it's just worth the appreciation. I do hate Alabama, but the other two, I got an appreciation for.
Chuck, who do you hate?
Russell Wilson.
His time is over.
And he had appreciation. He was defending Russell Wilson the other day.
Yeah,
I did pick him.
I like him.
I did pick him this week, but
you guys got any plans this weekend?
Plans. Let me think.
Well, I'm going to dinner tomorrow, watching the Cavs.
There you go.
Because the Cavs are good now.
Yeah, we got to know basketball the other day.
Well, that's got to change. The Cavs need to be a topic here soon because they're really good.
I had a whole script written out for basketball. We just went over an hour on football.
Well, we'll get to it. Saturday's just going to be a day I'm sure we'll be watching the college football matchup somewhere and having a few drinks, seeing a couple things.
Yup.
I think I'm going to go out and probably go to a bar or two, have a couple of adult beverages, and take an Uber home.
Look at that.
There you go. And this episode is brought to you by Lyft. Lyft is the premier driving assistance app. So Yug, please use our sponsors responsibly. And if you'd have anything to add to that, now would be the time.
Yeah, and I do have something to say, and I actually forgot to bring up the sponsor, so thank you for taking care of that for us. Your first ride is always free. If you use the Clubhouse Sport, just use the use the code Clubhouse Sports, and tell them that AJ when you hop in, and they'll even give you a complimentary water bottle beverage to sober you up.
That's pretty sick.
Oh, I have to try that one out. I didn't even know that one. If you don't get the complimentary water bottle, who do you need to email?
Yeah, and if the code doesn't work again, and I cannot stress this enough, if it does not work, please send an email with your detailing your wrongful experience to ttnc2015@gmail.com. And please don't hold back. We love our feedback, good or bad. It's what keeps this podcast running.
Yeah, and I appreciate all the dick pics I'm getting to the email address right now. So well, I had a little Lex pop up on my work computer today. That was pretty awesome.
Mr. Steele.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Glad that happened.
I don't even know what the fuck I was gonna say. We're just done here.
See you next week.
Enjoy it. We'll see if Charlie watches college football again.
Yeah, we'll see. Wouldn't count on it.